All right, welcome to the Hour of Power and AmeriFirst Speaker Series. We appreciate everyone joining today and wish everyone a very happy Good Friday. A big thanks to last week's host or guest, Evander Holyfield. If you'd like to hear the recording of last week's call, please contact your AmeriFirst loan officer or send an email to consideritdone@amerifirst.com. We apologize for the confusion a little bit in today's broadcast. We did go with a live video broadcast on Zoom, as you all know, and hopefully everybody's on. We do have some people waiting on the other side if in fact you dialed in on the other number. So without further ado, we'd like to get to today's guest. And with the special introductions, I want to turn that over to Ron Burgum.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. Ron Burgum here in Orange County, California. I drove from Los Angeles, LAX, to be with TomFerry, my very good friend we hadn't determined how many years we've known each other, but sometime when he was a small child,
yes,
we actually first started to know each other. And it turns out he's grown tremendously. I'm in his brand new office space since December of this year. And he has 45,000 square feet.
Yeah.
170 some odd employees full-time here, plus coaches.
Yes.
And he's on 2 floors in a very beautiful space. So it's a tremendous space. Congratulations on the phenomenal success you've had.
Thank you.
And as I've learned, which I always knew this, I always said you're the #1 coach in the world. It turns out he is the #1 real estate industry coach and expert for the last 6 years in a row.
Yes.
So that's a great job.
Yeah,
congratulations.
you,
and
appreciate it.
With that, I'd like to turn over the beginning of this conversation to you, and we're going to have Q&A come in.
Awesome.
And we'll answer questions. But I want to start with this. Let's start off with, how many agents do you actually coach?
So personally, I only coach 7 agents and 4 CEOs, but as an organization with 165 coaches, we're coaching about 7,000 men and women from brand new agents, literally just getting started, to C-level executives running 4,000 person organizations in real estate, in mortgage, in title, also in the insurance industry, some entrepreneurs in tech. So all it really means is I get to live kind of like a scientist in a laboratory. Like, I literally just a few nights ago surveyed, for example, one group of our clients, about 2,800 men and women, mainly in the US, because I wanted to be relevant for this group. I asked them this question, like, where are all of your listings coming from? Give me the analytics. And literally to have them share all of their best listing sources right now, like, that's the kind of stuff I want to share with everybody today. Like, the real estate industry is so full of people that are trying to guess how to become successful. What I know after being a business coach for nearly 2.5 decades is that it's cliche, but success leaves clues. And what most people don't do is they don't look at the data. They look around their office and they say, what's Ron doing? What's Doug doing? What's Mark doing? They kind of want to figure it out, but they never go deep enough to say, how does that person think? What are their strategies? What's their budget? What are their best lead sources? What's their daily number? How do they operate their business? What's their customer service plan? What's their marketing plan? That's what we do. We can take someone, good example, 2 years ago, Jeremy Cady, one of our clients, set the all-time record for a brand new agent, 62 closed transactions first year in the business.
Wow.
Now, he showed up to one of our events before he got his license. He had been watching my YouTube channel for a year before he got licensed. So he was somewhat indoctrinated into our methodologies. But at the end of the day, he went out and executed 62 transactions first year, about 85 the second year, well over 100 his next year. So, success leaves clues, my friends. Like, a lot of us are looking around and we're not following the principles that we know are true. And I hope today we can help shift some people's thinking from what I call common sense to like common behavior, right? Like, common sense is common sense. Like, we know if we talk to lots of people and we're good at what we do and we ask good questions, we're going to help a lot of people buy and sell real estate. But that common behavior doesn't happen for a lot of people in this business. So my hope is with our 7,000 plus, and that will, be 10,000 and 15,000 and 20,000 around the world, that we just keep moving them from that common sense into common behavior.
Oh, that's tremendous. High five on that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So Tom, this is Mark. Thanks again for coming. We really appreciate it. Want to hear something about the agents who aren't winning. What are the things they should avoid?
So, it's a great question. And if anyone.
Uh-oh.
My,
Neighbor.
okay. So sorry, so I had an unstable internet moment. So on Instagram, I've been answering questions. So if you go to my Instagram stories, for those of you that are watching, I'll just go on there and I'll say, where are you stuck? How can I help? What's on your mind? And I'll get 80 to 500 questions from people ranging from, hey, I'm brand new, to, hey, I'm an experienced veteran, but I'm stuck, to a very typical question, hey, I'm selling 30 homes a year, how do I get to 90? Or I'm selling 30 homes a month, how do I get to 100 homes a month? And look, at the end of the day, the behaviors that cause people to fail are very obvious. Let me give you a few. You ready? They don't have a morning routine. So they get up every day and markets like this. Come on, 7. We kind of hope and pray something happens. They don't have a daily discipline around what I would call 5-5-4-2. 5-5-4-2 means I'm going to talk to 5 people in my database every day to nurture those relationships, to empower them to answer the fundamental questions they have about the market, to stay top of mind, to occasionally ask for a referral. I'm going to talk to 5 new people every day, because we all know that the planet is basically a small percentage of the people that you know and the enormous 7.5 billion people that you don't know. The opportunity is massive over here to find people to add into this group to nurture and have those long-standing referral-based relationships. So 5-5-4 is they fundamentally are not following up on leads. Well, what we know today from all of the research, doesn't matter what firm you talk to, the average real estate agent gets a lead, right? Any kind of lead you want, open house, referral, met at a soccer game, internet lead, relocation, it doesn't make a difference. Any lead source, the average agent will attempt to reach that person 3 times in the first week. And what we know is documented. You will have a 72% conversion if you reach out to them 10 times in the first 5 days, right? The last 2, and again, we're talking kind of one big chunk of the mistake that we see the vast majority of agents making. Number 1 is they don't have a morning routine, right? So they start their day probably not on the best side, the best foot forward, right? Not thinking the right stuff, not looking at their goals, not looking at their schedule, not looking at what they're, is going to fire up their ambition. The next one is that 5-5-4-2, 5 conversations with their database, 5 new conversations every day. Pick your lead source. I don't care, but I'll probably share some stuff with you around that. Do 4 lead follow-up conversations every day. And the second one is, if you're not shooting 2 videos, whether it's daily, which is what I recommend, if you're new to it, weekly, I'm telling agents today, there's a $16 billion ad spend happening right now in the US. And every one of those companies are wonderful men and women, just like all of us on the line. Their job is to spend money to get consumers that are interested in buying and selling real estate to go to their website to fill out a form so they can take that lead and either sell it to somebody or get a direct into the vein 25 to 35% referral fee. So that $16 billion that's being spent is pretty insanely great compared to what the average real estate company, let alone agent or team, would spend. So our job is to position ourselves in the marketplace at the minimum amongst our sphere to make sure they know who we are, what we stand for, and the customers we want to serve. And the way you do that branding and positioning today, it's all about video. So I say, if you're not shooting 2 videos a day or 2 videos a week, I tell my best clients, your brand is only as strong as the last 5 videos you shot. And when I said that recently in Chicago at the United Center in front of 1,200 agents for Coldwell Banker, I asked them how many have shot 5 videos in the last month. 4 hands went up. 4 hands. I mean, my friends, this is controlling the world. So back to the question, kind of a long answer is they don't have a morning routine. They don't have a discipline around what moves the needle in their business. The third thing would be, and it's interesting, I actually asked the question to a bunch of my clients, like, has there been a time in your business when you were failing? And if so, what was the cause? The number 1 answer was inconsistent prospecting. The number 2 answer was mindset, AKA a lack of belief that I am worthy of it. Like, that was the language, a lack of belief that I'm worthy of it. And I know anyone that's watching this right now, whether you're with us live or this is in the future, every one of us has a past. Every one of us has a story. Every one of us can rationalize poor behavior, rationalize a poverty-stricken mindset. But I want to remind you that, friends of mine that were in the military that might experience like post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'm dealing with a young guy right now, and I cannot mention his name, but you know, he's knee deep in it, married, 2 kids, under 4 years old, brand new real estate agent. I reminded him that could just as easily be post-stress growth, right? The big issue that people have today in real estate, and it's really around the world, is are you in a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Do you know, when you have a deal fall apart, is this a learning opportunity of how I can get better? Or is this, gosh darn, buyers are evil and that agent was horrible for not accepting my offer, or I can't believe, you know, the lender couldn't get this deal pushed through, right? Are you in that fixed mindset where you're essentially blaming everybody else? Or are you taking the path of the growth mindset, which is more of a personal responsibility and how can I use this to get better and what do I need to do to serve clients at a higher level? So that's a big one. And then because I kind of covered it in the 4, they all said across the board, inconsistent lead follow-up. And then a big one that showed up is the distractions, which means we're focused on too many things, right? And I see it all the time. Like, Mark, I'll get these questions on Instagram like, Tom, I'm working on this. You know, how do I get it all done? And my response was, I'm the CEO of a pretty large company, and I'm trying to focus on 3 things that I might be able to operationalize in my business over the next 18 months. You're trying to do 37, and you're wondering why you're not successful. Look, I say to people, follow your plan. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's an acronym. Prospect, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate. That's it. Those 4 things, when done, even by somebody with a lousy mindset, they're going to succeed. So I know, you know, it was a long answer to your question. But to make it very simple, mindset, lack of 5-5-4, that morning routine isn't right, the 5-5-4-2, and then they're not being consistent, right, with all the things that move the needle, right? And at the end of the day, right, they've got too many distractions, too many projects. You got to simplify it. And what I say, close the loop on all those things that are incomplete in your life and business, and then you will move forward powerfully and peacefully.
Before we get, may have been a long answer, but it was a perfect answer. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that, Mark. Before we get to the next question, I want to do a little more housekeeping here. We've got literally hundreds of people on the call here today, and I want to make sure we understand. We're going to do the Q&A a little differently than we've done in the past. So we're going to use the chat feature. So I want to start building up some questions in the queue. We've got a lot of real estate professionals and partners on with us. And so I want to make sure we use the highest and best use of Tom's time. So with that said, put your questions in the chat, and as soon as we're done with the Q&A here, we'll get to everybody else's Q&A. Sorry, guys, go ahead.
Yep, great. Hey, great answer, Tom. That was awesome.
Thanks, Dave.
Good, solid information and very compelling. Hey, this is Dave. Really pleased you're here. This is exactly what we were hoping for, more than we were hoping for. So thank you again, Tom. Hey, I wanted to ask you, you know, the whole game, this whole real estate game really is about listing to last. So with that question and that framework, share with us what's working in this ridiculously competitive market to get the listing.
That's a big question I could probably spend a few days on, but I'll say to you, let me give you 3 considerations. So the first thing is I want you to get in this mindset. Do I want to be writing offers or receiving offers? Think about how simple that is. Do I want to be writing offers or do I want to be receiving offers? Any agent in their right mind is going to say to themselves, I can be on vacation in the Bahamas, I could be halfway around the world in Sydney, Australia, and I could be receiving offers and still be effective in my business. On the flip side, depending upon the sales price that you're in, let's just call it anywhere in the continental US, north of or south of $300,000, you're in an uber competitive environment. And if you're on the writing offer side, I don't have to tell you the stress and tension you feel about your one buyer, your one client who falls in love with a house, who doesn't have the best credit, who doesn't have the best offer, who's not willing to maybe push the envelope. You're in a troublesome position. So I say to you first and foremost, remember that whatever you focus on expands. And I don't mean that to be motivational in any way, shape, or form, but it is the blinding flash of the obvious, right? If you focus on how do I get more listings, you're gonna get more listings. If you ask yourself that type of question, you're gonna win. What I thought I would do today, and Dave, you'll appreciate this, is again, in preparation for my annual Success Summit, We do this conference every year in August in Anaheim with about 6,000 agents in the room and about 20,000 on what we do on our live cast. We basically will present there this year about 21 of the best listing attraction campaigns. So I'm going to share with you first and foremost from our clients that are selling 55 homes a year, 70% of their business listings sold, 30% buyer sale. So you understand the formula. 70% of their business listings sold, 30% buyer sale. You know, we want to keep buyers. We want to do buyer deals. We want to serve our customers. We want to be on the receiving offer end. So I asked them analytically break down for me where your listings come from. I'm going to share this with all of you, my friends, with the intent of basically two things: awareness, and number two, so you can say, wait a minute, I'm putting all my fishing line, if you will, in that pond. There may be a few more ponds you're going to want to put some lines in metaphorically to get more listing opportunity. So number one, without a shadow of a doubt, is their past clients in their sphere. We call that their database, right? We know there's a direct correlation to the size of the database and the number of conversations you're having digitally, email, direct mail, face-to-face that move the needle. I tell all my clients, I want you to have 1,000 people in your database that you're nurturing at all times. Even though we know of that group, 100 to 200 will be your core, right? Nurturing those other 800 and staying top of mind gives you a huge opportunity, not just to do a transaction, but to also get a referral. So that's number one. Number two, though, hands down in our universe, is geographic farming. If you're in the real estate business today and you have been selling homes for more than 5 years and you don't have a geographic farm, in a loving way, I want to punch you in the throat, right? You're working your sphere, you're relationship-based as I am. The most natural extension to a relationship-based marketing strategy, right? Using our database as that example, is to nurture 500, 800, 1,000 homes in a geographic farm and essentially, you know, have that gal become the mayor of the community. Have you become the most recognizable, trusted advisor in the space. Now, I can go very deep on this, but if you go to my YouTube channel, there's videos there with hundreds of thousands of views where I literally say, this is the exact geographic farming strategy that works. But I'll tell you a story instead. Client of mine from New York City, and I mean like downtown New York City, like, you know, West 17th is where his office is. He says to me 7 years ago, Tom, you know, I know you keep saying farming, but I live in New York. It's vertical living. We don't even have trees around here. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Josh, listen, he's a personal client, dear friend now. I say, Josh, grab 2 buildings, right? 500 properties, vertical living, can't knock on the door, can't get in. There's doormen there. It's very different from suburban America. I said, but the same principles apply. 2 direct mail pieces a month, right? Until they basically do something or die. Like, that's it. 2 direct mail pieces a month, just listed, just sold, open house invitations, market updates, what's going on in the neighborhood, community involvement, top of mind, top of mind, top of mind. He's like, I'm not really into that. I said, no problem. Give me 2 buildings where the turnover is higher than 7%, right? Higher than 7%. He gets 2 buildings. We do the analytics side, the data side. He's got a little success there. So he's got transactions in the building. And I say to him, send the darn mailers. He's like, I don't know if I want to do it. The money, it's costly. I said, Josh, I'll pay for the mailers. Split the first 5 deals with me. And he says, okay, I'll send it. Well, first mailer goes out, gets a come list me call, calls me and says, why didn't you tell me about this sooner? I'm like, I know. And I said, what'd the client say? He said, the client actually said, we've been getting your mailers forever. We need to sell our house. First mailer, he said. He got lucky. What if I told you that today, Dave, 7 years later, he markets to a geographic farm in Manhattan, 88,000 apartment buildings, right? Units. His direct mail cost is just shy of $400,000 a year. And before you throw up in your mouth, his GCI from farming last year was north of 4 million. So he spends $1, makes 10, spends $1, makes 10, spends $1, makes 10. Now, he put it on steroids. I'm asking you just to take your sphere and a farm of 500 to 1,000 homes and make that a base of annuity business because you've got this great relationship. You're going to win. The third one is, ready? This might shock a lot of you, agent-to-agent referrals. So in our ecosystem of our 7,000 members, they send anywhere between 800 to 900 referrals a month to each other. I take no referral fees, right? And the vast majority of them are listing folks. Hey, I got a friend, my mother-in-law, my old college roommate, here's a listing for you. So agents have figured out, if you go to census.gov, you can actually figure out where you live in the country, where people are moving from into your town. That's what census.gov will give you, all the moving patterns. So let's say you're in Miami and you're like, okay, I want to get more listings. Well, hello, you need to go to northern Miami, AKA New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, but not in the low price ranges, in the high price ranges, and start nurturing agent-to-agent relationships in those areas as an example, right? Go to LinkedIn, see who you're already connected with, Facebook, et cetera, and go. From there, no shocker because of what happened in the last 6 months of 2018, expired listings are now number 4 on the list, and no one watching this is going to be shocked by that. When the real estate gods last, call it July, August, said, hey, we've gone on an 8.5-year run, let's slow things down and have everybody take a breather, right? Then interest rates got a little wonky. So, the second half of last year was not our best year. Then January started out a little slow. February started out a little slow. Interest rates dropped, and like the whole world boom, just took off, as all of you were experiencing. So expired listings became a factor, right? We've succeeded, others have failed. We can help you get the job done. Let's repackage, reposition, et cetera. Like, you all know what to say, but it's having the courage to go into your farms or into your community and help those people. From there, open houses. Next would be Zillow and Trulia. Third would be relocation. Fourth would be for sale by owner. So long answer to the question. First and foremost is it's a mindset. Secondly, you've got to add the lead sources that are going to cause you to win. And the third thing is you have to have a more compelling listing presentation today than an iBuyer program, than Knock.com, than Open Door, Zillow's iBuyer. You got to have something that's compelling to the consumer. Now, let's start with the fundamentals. If you can't answer for me as a consumer how many homes you or your company have sold in my area, if you can't tell me that, hey, even if you're brand new, myself and my company, we've sold 32 of the last 57 transactions in your community over the last 2 years. We know this area. We know the market. Secondarily, what was your list to sell ratio? What was your list to sell ratio? And knowing that versus the competition. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you got a lot of options in this area. There's 27 other agents that work this part of town. And guess what? Most of them average 91% of list price. We are averaging 97% of list price. Now, what that tells you is we're getting our clients 5 to 6% more than anybody else, right? Again, basic sells for a lot of people, but for some of you, you don't have it in place. And if you start crushing on the lead generation and you can't convert, it's no bueno. So the last part of that is, ready? You have to be able to articulate days on market you versus days on market the competition. Now, those three are the foundation, right? So what you want to be able to say is we sell more, we sell faster, and we get you more money in that order. We sell more, we sell faster. Remember, the consumer, when they hear fast, they think the price goes low. So when you say we sell faster and we sell for 5% more, 3% more, 2% more, 1% more, whatever it is. But then the kicker today is then how many reviews do you have on Zillow? How many reviews can I read about you and your level of success? And now, 8 years ago when the founders of Zillow called me and said, we're going to do reviews, what do you think? I was the biggest champion for it because I understood for 25 straight years the power of testimonials on infomercials, right? Like you're watching an infomercial like, I got thin thighs in 30 days or less without diet and exercise. And you're like, hey, if that knucklehead can do it, I can do it too. Well, today we're in a review-based culture. And we're not just talking about millennials. We're talking about, my mother-in-law who's 91, right? Like everybody's reading reviews to try and find certainty in an uncertain time. Remember this, my friends. Remember this if you don't hear anything else. What do you do with tremendous certainty and confidence once every 10 years? What do you do with tremendous certainty and confidence once every 10 years? Like sell your house. So they're going to get on this, and they're going to look for who's selling homes in my area. Are they on Zillow, Truly a Realtor, etc.? What are the reviews? You know, what's your degree of separation? And then guess what? If they see 7, 8, 10, 50, 100, 300 videos of you in front of a brand new listing, hey, we just sold this house, you know, a video of you handing, you know, 47 sets of keys to the new buyer of the listing that you sold in a really fast, rapid success 2018 video, they're going to say, yeah, I got a friend in the business, but I got to talk to her. Sally seems to have her stuff going on. So those three things: mindset, adding more listing attraction, and upping the game of your listing presentation to really be able to compete with iBuyers, knock, and, you know, and discounters, the whole 9 yards. So long answer, but I probably have, I don't know, 300 videos just on that subject on my YouTube channel.
Great answer. Great answer.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, Doug Long here. Great hearing your, great seeing you, great hearing your energy.
Yeah, thanks, Doug.
Yeah, just real quick, how important is social to agents' business today, and what advice do you recommend?
So Doug, it's crazy for me to think about this, because for some of you that have known me for a long time, like I was on MySpace and Friendster before I was on Facebook. I just had a feeling that was the way the world was going. In 2007, I was extremely blessed. I was out on the golf course. You all remember 2007. It was not exactly a time when people were saying they were blessed. But I was extremely blessed to be on the golf course and ran into a pal of mine. I was by myself, and he's like, do you want to join me and my friend? I'm like, sure, I'd love to. And I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. Who are you? He's like, my name is David. I said, David, who do you work for? What do you do for a living? He said, I work at Google. I said, kind of a big company. What do you do at Google? And Doug, he literally said, I'm in charge of media and content for Google. And I literally was like, I went to my other buddy. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I ride with your friend? And I said, do you mind if you drive? And I got my yellow notepad out, and we're playing golf, and I'm just picking his brain. I said, hey man, I'm about to sign this deal with BlackBerry, and we're going to do like podcast exclusive content for real estate agents on BlackBerry. He looked at me and he goes, podcasts are stupid. So when the guy at Google, who's in charge of content and the front page media, tells you that the strategy you're about to implement is stupid, what do most people do?
They should listen.
No, most people just keep doing the same stupid stuff, right? I said,
right.
What do you recommend, David? He said, well, we just bought a company called YouTube. And he said, if you can podcast, you should be on video. And he said, and eventually video will take over the world. Now, in answer to your question, you ready? I started my first YouTube channel in 2007 in July. Then I started my next one, which is the one you guys would see today, in 2009. We're averaging about 1 million views a month on that channel, which means I'm broadcasting out to 1 million views a month, where my brand, my message is being connected. Now, how do I do that? I shoot a piece of content. Rich over here on my team, who has been with me for years and does a magnificent job of this, we then put that video in YouTube, on my website, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, LinkedIn. Then we take it and we rip just the text, and that becomes the blog, a written blog. Then we take little snippets of videos and we post them on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. And when they get a good response, we spend some money and we boost them out to the people that we want to reach. And what I would tell you is this, like an agent today who, I don't think there's an agent in the world today, and I've been all over the world. I mean, I've literally spoken in every nook and cranny of Europe, Australia, New Zealand, everywhere, right? Doesn't matter where you be in Mexico City, and every agent is on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, WeChat. The question though is, what's your strategy, right? What's your strategy? Like anything else, like tactics are a dime a dozen. Shooting a video is easy. I start with people and say, what is the purpose of your channel? What is the mission you want to accomplish? Is this for consumers that don't know you and want to get to know you? Or is it for your database, nurturing, informing, and educating? You can do both on one channel as an example. The game today is no longer, because I mean, Rich, we were just in this conversation, pointing to my buddy over here, that every social channel viewership is down right now, right? YouTube changed their algorithm, Facebook changed their algorithm, Twitter changed their algorithm. Like, if you're not paying attention to the details of, if I want a successful post on Instagram, it has to take place at 5 o'clock in the morning, your time zone, and the next one should be done at 6:30 or 7. If you're not paying attention to those details, you'll say things like social media isn't working, where I will tell you, because we've got a plan and a strategy, and we've got a truckload of tactics that we're testing and tweaking all the time, that it is the single most important thing I do as the CEO of this company. The single most important thing I do with over 350 people inside the business is I shoot videos and I create content and I contribute. And when people post and ask me questions, I answer the questions and I give back and I stay humble and I keep serving. Now that's kind of a big answer to the question, but
Sounds like you listened to the guy from Google.
oh, I really.
You are the content guy. Yeah.
I mean, and look, Doug, we're in this world, we've known each other for a long time. We know that your income is in direct correlation to the amount of people and problems that you serve, right? Your income, the person watching this right now, if you're dissatisfied with your income, what you're really dissatisfied with is your inability to solve problems at scale. So I can shoot one video that solves a problem for, 10,000 agents, 100,000 agents. And do they call me in that moment and say, oh my God, I want to do business with you? No. But when you do it over and over and over and over and over, and then suddenly there's a flyer or a marketing or somebody calls and says, hey, we're bringing this TomFerry guy on. People are like, oh, I know that guy. Yeah, absolutely. Right? And I think that's what everybody wants today. How do you outposition yourself versus the discounters, the disintermediators, the disconnectors in your business? How do you separate all that noise and touch your customers? The answer is right here, my friends, right here. So I don't care about Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I would send smoke signals if that would work. You with me? I would do paper airplanes if that would work. All of these are just tools. The key is that you've got a plan and a strategy to contribute to the people that are in your world, to answer the questions that they have about real estate and financing, and how do you write successful offers, and what do you do if you've got an elderly parent who is thinking about selling. Oh, totally unrelated. We're in the middle of this campaign right now with all of our clients. Check this out, everybody watching. Have you looked at Remine.com, REMINE.com? Now, in fairness, I'm an investor. I'm an advisor for this company, but this is I'm super pumped about it. I searched them out and said, I want to invest in this company. Remine.com gives me the ability to go into my communities, right, via the MLM and say, show me every human being that's north of 65 years old that lives in a two-story house, north of 70 years old that live in a two-story house. And we're trying to figure out how can we message them in an elegant, beautiful way that when it's time for them to make a move, that we're the agent of choice. There's so much information and data available today to have you become a better, more effective, sales associate, author of trust inside your marketplace. Try that one. It's super hot right now. So anyway, long answer. Yes, I'm a fan of social.
Thank you.
That's awesome. And Tom, to that end, to the video end specifically, was watching a recent episode that you posted that was ridiculous energy. When I got done watching it, I had to take a nap. I mean, it was high energy, loved it. Talk to us. It was called Run Plays That Work. You're talking about not doing dumb stuff, getting your head right. Really outstanding video. Can you give us a little more color on that concept of running plays that work?
So this is actually, I'm just really, like all of us online right now, and here we are on Good Friday, right? So I'm very blessed to have spent a lot of time with a lot of extraordinary men and women that were kind enough to answer my questions, right? That were kind enough to mentor me. One gentleman in particular that has had a huge impact on me personally and my son is a guy named Nick Bollettieri. So if anyone is watching this, if you love the game of tennis, then Nick Bollettieri is, without a shadow of a doubt, the greatest tennis coach of all time. So we met Nick for the first time 5 years ago. He, one of his mentees is the owner of our club. Sat down with him then, just as much as I just saw him in March of this year at the PMB tennis tournament hanging out. He'd say to me, Tommy, there's a lot of kids out there. They all got skills, man, right? But here's the thing. Most of them do dumb shit. Now, excuse my French, but that's Nick, right? He's 85. He can say whatever he wants. He's like, they just keep doing dumb shit. He's like, the whole game is you got to run plays that work, right? So he's working with my son, who is, now going to play for Chapman College, and he's a good tennis player. Big kid, just won league champ, by the way. Just won league champ. That was on Monday, so kind of fired up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the shift for him was he knew how to hit, great ground strokes, and he had a great two-handed backhand, and he had a powerful first serve and, 5 other serves. But what he didn't have was a playbook of how to play against lefties, how to play against guys that play soft, how to play against, the hard-hitting flat player. Now, the same metaphorical example for all of us is, what is the play you run in the morning when you're highly productive? What is the play you run when you meet a first buyer? Like, what are the questions that I ask? What do I demonstrate? What do I show my value so they understand that they should work with me? I'm asking you to think about a time in your life where perhaps you were an athlete. And if you ever had a coach, I don't care if it was softball, volleyball, golf, whatever, chess, ready? The whole thing is you run plays with work until the defense stops you, then you adjust. The greatest coaches of all time have that playbook, and some of them, the playbook is really big, and they say, we know we're going up against an expired listing. This is what we need to demonstrate. This is the play that works. I'm doing an open house, right? I want it to be as methodical as possible. I want to make sure that I always produce the maximum possible result for my time. So I'm going to put out 30 signs. I'm going to run Facebook and Instagram ads. I'm going to partner and have a food truck there. I'm going to make it a big deal, and I'm going to run 500 people through my open house. Yes, 500. We do that. I had a client in Sydney, Australia on a rainy day in Sydney who had beer and fun and this giant bounce house in the backyard. And on a rainy day, still had 125 people come through his open house because he turned the play into action. You didn't know it was going to rain. Didn't matter, right? You run the play, you get a great result. And the mistake that I see so many people making is you're not conscious of what you do that's working. You're not conscious enough to say, gosh, you know what? Even though I don't like it, when I call my past clients in Sphere, I always get a good result. You're not conscious of the fact that you can hit the brakes and stop at that for sale by owner, knock on their door and say, gosh, you guys got a beautiful house. How come it hasn't sold? What's going on? Can I help? Can I do an open house for you? Can I bring you some value, right? And like, run plays that work is universal for everything you do in your life. I run plays that work with my wife because you know what? I've been married for 25 years and I know the plays that I run that don't work. You with me? Like every married person understands what I'm saying here. And having a 20-year-old and 18-year-old son, there's the plays that I ran with them when they were young versus the young men that they are today. I needed new plays. Does that make sense? So I don't mean to be all preachy here. For the agent, I would say, listening to this, look, stop doing dumb shit. You with me? You got to start closing out the match. You got to start doing the practice that's going to make you extraordinary. So there's a play that you run when you practice before an appointment. There's the play that you run when you prepare and do the comps and really do your homework before you go on a listing presentation. There's the play that you run when you're inside your office working with your assistant, right? Start doing the plays that you know work. Start documenting. Get your own playbook. You with me? Create your own playbook of if this, then that. If this, then that. And you keep doing the stuff that works, my friends, and you will be so blown away by your success. The only issue you're going to have is up here, can you accept all the money that's just being poured on you every single day? But we can help you with that too.
Well, that'd be really hard to deal with, I'm sure.
It's a quality problem, but I mean, all kidding aside, I just met with the CEO a couple of days ago. Ron saw the notes inside my office. His issue is, his parents, his church, his everything told him, basically money is evil. Yeah. And, I've helped him grow his business from $1 million to $3 million in revenue, and he's got a $25 million business, but he's got a $2 million mindset.
So Tom, we've got about 20 minutes left, so I'm going to ask you the last question from the panel here, and then we'll open it up to everybody. And once again, thank you so much for coming. This has been really eye-opening for me, and I'm sure for all of us. I'd like you to share with us, what is the one question that every realtor gets asked over and over and over again, and 9 times out of 10, they whiff?
Oh, okay. I have taught this since 2010. I think the first time I did it publicly in a large setting, I was in Tel Aviv, Israel. And I'm on this European tour. So Tel Aviv was the first spot. That was in Munich, and I was in, just all over the place, right? Every place I went, and it was the first time that I really, really was like really entrenched and really like supporting clients in Europe. I said, I'm just curious, guys, how many times a month do you get this question? How's the market? Right? How's the market? And they all laughed, and, some were listening to, the interpreting advice, and most everybody that I was dealing with was speaking English. And they'd say 70 times a month, 80 times a month, 100 times a month, everywhere I go, every cafe I walk into, every time I reach out to a friend, every time I'm on the football field, soccer for them, right? Everywhere they go, they're like, that's the question we get, because everybody's super curious about the economy as it relates to real estate, right? And I came up with this little script. I said, well, what do you guys say? Like, I said, let's role play, right? I'm like, so, hey, Moshe, how's the market? And he's like, it's great. It's great. I was like, that is the stupidest answer I've ever heard in my life. Where does the customer go from your moment of, it's great? They're like, really? I'm an FHA buyer, under $300,000 price point in a super piping hot market. The market sucks for me. Right? You're offending that person. I'm a high-end seller in San Diego along the coast where like 1 out of 175 properties sell. How great is the market for me? So I literally said to him, what do you think you should say? He's like, I don't know. What do you recommend? I said, this is what I would say. Ask me, how's the market? He's like, how's the market? I said, it really depends. Are you looking to buy, sell, invest, or rent? Are you looking to buy, sell, invest, or rent? Each of those markets are so radically different at this time. Which segment of the market are you most interested in? And he was like, whoa. And everybody wrote it down. And I was like, I better write that one down. That's going to be a TomFerry show. That's a good one, right? So all of a sudden now I've got hundreds of thousands of people around the world when asked the question, how's the market? They say, it depends. Are you looking to buy, sell, invest, or rent? Which part of the market are you most interested in? And, they would dig a little deeper, but they needed more. So then I gave them a series of questions, right? Beyond that. So you ready? So I say to you, hey, Mark, it really depends, right? Hey, Dave, it really depends. Are you going to buy, sell, invest, or rent? Which part of the market are you interested in? They're like, I don't know. I'm just kind of curious about the overall market. Then I'm going to ask the following questions. Ready? Hey, I got to ask, are you living in your dream home now? Are you living in your dream home now? Think of the simplicity of that question. I could have just built my home and I could still find flaws in it and say, no, it's not my dream home. I could be in the same property for 20 years and I was just at the Joneses house down the street, and it was a little bit nicer. The answer is no. My kitchen needs to be updated. My garage is horrible. My backyard is too small. I've got more kids than I had when I bought this house. Are you living in your dream home now? 75+% of the people say no. Then we say, well, have you had any thoughts of selling? Have you guys had any thoughts, of selling? And you know what? When you hear this, that means yes. If they're like, no, we love our house, we're going to die here, right? Whatever, we hear some funny things. No, right? Then we say, well, but I'm curious, at what price would you become a seller? At what price would you become a seller? So are you living in your dream home now? Have you had any thoughts of selling? At what price would you become a seller, right? You're probably not going to get through the first 3, but if you do, you can always ask the following next question. You ready? You could say, do you know anybody who tried to sell and it didn't work out? Or do you know anybody who's had any thoughts of selling? Now, again, common sense to common practice, right? Common sense to common behavior. If I'm being asked 75 to 80 times a month, hey, how's the market? What's going on in real estate? And my answer is great, and I don't go anywhere with it, and there's no leads generated, no opportunities, no exploration, I'm going to stop running that stupid play, and I'm going to try a different play. The play I'm going to run is, it really depends. You're going to buy, sell, invest, or rent. Each one of those markets is so radically different right now. Even coastal to inland is so different. Which part of the market are you guys interested in? And they're like, I don't know. I'm just, it's just kind of curious. And, my mom's getting a little bit older, right? bam, easy opportunity. They're like, nah, I'm just kind of curious. And I'm like, well, I got to ask, are you guys living in your dream home now? They're like, I mean, we like it. Well, okay, that sounds like it's not your dream home then. They're like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's our dream home, but we're thinking about maybe remodeling and, right, you have this normal conversation. You go, well, I got to ask, have you guys had any thoughts of selling? Like any thoughts of selling? Like any thoughts? And they're like, yeah, we're on Zillow. We're looking at property all the time, but we're really not sure. Well, I guess the real question is, in this market, at what price would you guys become a seller? Like at what price would you become a seller? God, if we can get 400, we're gone. Really? Where would you go? What are you guys thinking about? Boom, you're done. You could take 75 to 100 opportunities and turn them into leads, nurturing, get deeper. If they're a friend or a past client, why not know at what price they become a seller? Put that inside my CRM, watch the market as it trends closer to that, let them know, congratulations, you're almost there, right? That's called bringing value to people beyond just sending them a direct mail card or doing a social video. So that's really the question that most people blow it on. And those that know what to say, Tom, they're prospecting me when they ask that question. They're prospecting me and I was whiffing it, right? I was blowing it and now I'm crushing it. Thank you. Like that script has made a lot of people a lot of money. And I hope it serves every one of you on this Good Friday.
What a fantastic answer. Thank you so much. Okay, Craig, you want to take it over for questions?
Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff, Tom. We have loan officers in roughly 20 states, from Michigan to Florida to California, and I was just amazed at your following and what you've built. It's and for as young as you are, really very impressive, Tom. So again, kudos to you for building that, and thank you so much, as everybody in the panel here has shared. Thank you for being here.
So I'm going to say, if they're new to Zoom, remind you guys, click on the Q&A tab. Or you can ask questions in chat, right? Because I know this is the first time you guys have done Zoom. So I know, when you guys are used to doing one thing and I say, no, let's do video. So for all the people that are watching that are trying to figure it out, welcome to Zoom. It's an insanely great product. You should start using it all the time.
I think we're going to, and I appreciate, I don't know if Richard knows it yet, but I appreciate your willingness to lend Richard's assistance with us, and we're going to learn how to do Zoom a lot better in the future. So thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I do have, let's see, as you said, we want to put some questions into the Q&A. Guys, go out there. We've got about 10 or 12 minutes left here, so go ahead and do that. But I do have a couple of questions here that I did receive. So outside of the video, which I'm guessing is going to be the one takeaway that you would have said should be the way to go, I'm going to get a bonus answer out of you and say, what's the, other than video, what's the one thing that people should walk away from and the easy thing to implement day one?
So specifically on social?
Yeah. Whatever you think we should take away from out of today.
5542. 5542. Like that for me would be, like, if I could wave it, like when all these questions I get asked on Instagram stories, right? At the end of the day, it usually comes back to, hey, look, there's people that know you and people that don't know you. And the number one reason why people fail is they're inconsistent with their prospecting, marketing, and lead generation. So if I can just get you to start texting or calling the people that already know you, like you, trust you. So here's an easy one. You ready? What if I told you there's a texting script that we've been teaching for about 5 years, that if you just send this text, starting at Z in your database and work all the way back up to A, you'll get 5 listing appointments today. Today. 5 listing appointments today. No phone call required, just send text messages. Ready? You say, hey, Craig, it's been a while, thinking about you, hope you guys are doing great. A little soft, right? And then, gotta ask, the market's been insane. Have you had any thoughts of selling in 2019, 2020? Question mark, question mark. If so, we have to talk. Send. Copy, paste, 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 send. Start at Z, work your way all the way up in your database. And my friends, you will be absolutely blown away by the response. I do it live in seminars, and literally people will, like, in the middle of the seminar, all of a sudden people are going like this. I got one. Oh my God. Hey, I got a listing offer. Oh my God. I'm like, how many did you send? 4. I'm like, send 40. Send 40. Another easy one that everybody could do today, go onto your Facebook page, right? Go onto your Facebook page, and this is what I want you to type this verbatim. You ready? Hey, they just upgraded our software to get accurate prices for our sellers. Would you like me to put together for you a updated home valuation, no obligation, in quotations, I just want to learn the new software. And guess what? Like, we did this just like randomly on a conference call, like a webinar like this with a bunch of our clients. And I'm like, guys, just test this out, right? Modify it to make it, you don't want to lie if they didn't upgrade the software, obviously, right? But like you could say, just got a new piece of software, or hey, we got this great software, whatever it is. And then, hey, if you want to know the home value, let me know. And the overwhelming response was like 40 to 50 requests for CMAs on their homes. And when you get 40 to 50 requests from people in your database wanting to know the value of their home, do you think there might be a couple sellers in there? Survey says yes. So 2 easy ones.
Awesome. Thank you. Sounds like a great hour of power topic. We should do in the future. Doug, to take note of that.
100%.
All right. Well, it looks like we have a question. Jim Gaffney. I think Richard's gonna open up the line for Jim.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can.
All right, good deal. Can you see me or no?
We can't see you, Jim, but we see your name. How can we help, buddy?
Okay, yeah. Hey, man. So nice to say hello here. So hey, if I'm a new realtor, I'm fresh out of training, just got my license. Like, what recommendations do you have as far as what's that first thing, that first plan of action that an agent want to take? I mean, there's a lot of distractions out there with social media and marketing and all kinds of pay for opportunity for lead gen, but fresh out of the gate, what's that first or second thing that you want to do as a new agent?
I can answer this a couple different ways, but because I've got you live, how are you financially?
Well, I'm a loan originator, so
okay.
I work for AmeriFirst, but I'm in third person. I speak a lot to my realtor partners.
Okay.
Let's say financially, for the most part in my market, speaking on their behalf, I'd say probably not that cash heavy as far as investing.
Okay. So if that's the case, and that's a super important qualifier, I'm going to give you 2 answers. Ready? For the person that is a little more financially sound, right? And they're going to work their sphere, and they're going to, like, the answer is let buyers finance your listing learning curve, right? That's the obvious answer. But if you really want to become great in this business, I just gave this advice to a friend of mine. His sister sells real estate. He is a very, very, very influential CEO, social media guy. Like, everyone would know his name. And his sister's a coaching client of ours. I called her maybe 2-3 months into her real estate career as a client and said, what are you working on? She's like, I built my business plan in the hub, which that's important. You got to build your business plan. I got my marketing plan, and I got my daily schedule, and I got my daily routine, and I know my daily number. Like, those 5 things are just automatic. Like, you gotta have a plan, you gotta have a schedule, you gotta have a marketing plan, you gotta know your daily number, right? You gotta have your routines. She goes, I'm doing all that stuff, and it's weird because I was a school teacher before, and so I kind of relate, but I don't. It feels like I'm trying to, eat the elephant all at once versus taking one bite at a time, sort of metaphorically. And I said, Liz, here's what I want you to do. If you want to become exceptional in this business, I want you to call every old and every new, everyday expired listing for the next 6 months with 0 expectation of getting the listing. She's like, what? I said, I want you to call every expired listing, old and new, for the next 6 months with 0 expectation of getting the listing. Instead, I want you to document what you heard, document what their complaints were, document their unmet expectations. And of course, if you can serve them, you can help them, please go do so. But what I really want you to do is the next time your friend says, hey, you're in real estate, you're new, how's it going? I want you to be able to say, in the last 6 months, I interviewed 167 failed sellers, people that tried to put their home on the market and it didn't work out. What I discovered analytically was there was 5 primary causes of the homes not selling, and there was 4 wicked mistakes that these agents and these individuals made that actually hurt the seller and put them in a really bad position. And I'm just curious, would you like to know what they are? right? All of a sudden now you're an authority in your 5 or 6 months in the business. By the way, Jeremy Cady, who I mentioned earlier, 62 sales, first year in the business, Jeremy called expireds and FSBOs every single day, right? Building his business around listings and became very dominant, obviously, right? So back to the new agent, the thing that I would tell you is you're a racehorse, you got to put the blinders on. You need a business plan, a daily schedule, and a daily number. 5542, 5542, 5542. Like, that's it. Now, of course, Jim, that does beg the assumption that this person is motivated, is ambitious, wants to make money. Remember, the vast majority of people go into real estate, what they want is freedom and a few shekels. And what they get is no freedom and no money. It's an 87% turnover in our industry, but it's a 90% turnover in small business. So I guess we're doing slightly better than just regular small business, but it's an 87% turnover. And the reason why is nobody said to these people, look, this industry is full of the rich and the rest. It is the rich, and the rich run plays that work over and over again. And the rest, they want free Wi-Fi, coffee, hangout, social, sell a friend a house, right? So you got to determine who that person is and then operationalize around him, right? Does that make sense?
Good stuff. Good stuff, man. I appreciate that. I like it.
Man. All right. How are we on time, guys? Because I have a coaching call in T-minus 2 minutes.
All right. I got a couple more here. We all have the gift of gab, it says, but how do I overcome the fear of being in front of the camera? Going back to the video piece.
So I would say to you, how did your child get over the fear of walking? How did your child get over the fear of riding a bike? How did you get over the fear of riding a bike? How did you get over the fear of surfing for the first time? Anything you did for the first time, making love for the first time, right? Like what people, this goes back to run plays that work, right? The first thing you got to understand is this. If you consciously keep saying, I'm afraid to get on video, your mind will find everything in its power to protect you from something that actually isn't going to hurt you. You with me? You keep saying, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. Your mind doesn't go, awesome, let's go jump into that. So the first thing is I say, why do you want to shoot video? Get out of your head and get into your heart, right? We were in this conversation with Jim Quick yesterday. Get out of your head and get into your heart. Why do I want to shoot video? God, I keep getting the same 4 questions every time from people. Maybe I should answer them and do it at scale. Maybe that'd be helpful. I also want to do it because I want to help people. I want to help people make good decisions about buying and selling real estate. I really want to make sure that my customers understand that the news media is not designed right now to empower people about buying and selling real estate. Real estate is going to become a major factor in the 2020 election in the US, and they're going to play the card that the economy is bad, yet the home price index report, which I just read, if you go to KCM, Keeping Current Matters, everything says that this year is going to be better than 2017, which was a bananas year. So I want to get into my heart and say, how am I going to share that? And why do I want to share that? And what's important to me about it? So it's, head, heart, and then hands. Then you got to do the video. The other thing I'd remind people of is, if you go back and watch a few of my first couple of videos, they were horrible. But you know what? 1,200 videos, 1,500, I don't even know. 2,000 videos later, they get pretty good, because anything you do with repetition over and over and over again and accept some feedback is going to get better. So you don't always have to go live. You can actually shoot your video and then publish it as a live video with Facebook. That actually is an option. That's a good idea. So it appears to be live, but it's actually not. You pre-recorded it. I'll do this, and Rich has seen me he's like, hey, I need you to shoot a video for this company. I'm like, hey, what's up, company? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, that was stupid. Okay, let me try it again. Hey, company, blah, 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 blah. I'll do it a couple times until I feel good about it. Does that make sense? So that's my answer, right? Anything you want to be great at, you got to practice and put in the time. And boy, I'll tell you, if there's one superpower you want to have in this business going forward, when AI is going to be removing jobs, machine learning is going to be making everything faster and better, it's the ability to present and to have empathy. Those become the superpowers of great salespeople today.
Great stuff, Tom. If there's one thing I heard loud and clear today, if I was an originator today, like I was, 15 years ago or so, that certainly would be the takeaway that I would have. So,
yep.
We're at the top of the hour. Appreciate your time, and I'll hand it over to Ron, and let you guys wrap it up.
Sure. Ron's running back around
the
desk.
Just got off his trampoline here, and got my workout in while it was listening to the greatest things I've heard in a long time. So
Thanks,
I
man.
appreciate you,
Yeah,
brother.
appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining our call. We'll get this video out to people, and the content was powerful.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Tom, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was so incredible.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Tom.
it.
Very
Have
impressive.
a good Friday, everybody.
Same to you. Bye now.
Bye now.